WTEN in Albany. First with the news, on air and online, Sharman Sacchetti. Meteorologist Andy Gregorio. This is News 10 in the morning.
Airstrikes rock Baghdad as American warplanes fire more missiles at the Iraqi capital. Good morning. April 1st. I'm Sharman Sacchetti. Thanks for joining us for News 10 in the morning. Right now, we're going to turn to the latest developments on the war in Iraq. The bombs are falling in Baghdad, a site Iraqi dissidents call a torture center among the latest targets. And the U.S. military is investigating the deadly shooting of Iraqi women and children at a checkpoint near Najaf. It comes after a weekend suicide attack that killed 4 Americans. And Congress starts working on the president's plan for $75 billion to fight the war with Iraq and the war on terror. It appears as though lawmakers may not give President Bush everything he wants. Also today, a Patriot missile battery opened fire on a missile launch from inside Iraq. No missile reached Kuwait. For the latest, let's go live to reporter Adaora Udoji in Qatar.
Good morning. Coalition forces have apparently seized a key bridge on the road to Baghdad. And today we are learning more about the strategy behind those intense airstrikes, which have dropped more than 3,000 precision-guided bombs and missiles in just the past 3 days. U.S. soldiers racing along the banks of the Euphrates River are under fire as they try to take the many bridges leading to Baghdad. 50 miles south of the capital, U.S. forces started the first fight with an elite Republican Guard unit testing their response. An intense firefight left some Iraqi soldiers dead, others prisoners. A few U.S. soldiers were wounded as they took the bridge, and here, like in so many places, they report resisting Iraqis used human shields, women and children as cover.
One woman tried to break contact and escape, and as she ran, she was shot in the back and thrown into the river.
In Najaf, Central Command is investigating an incident that left 7 Iraqi women and children dead. Military officials say yesterday, after a vehicle refused to stop at a checkpoint, U.S. troops fired warning shots. They say they got no response, so those troops opened fire. The suicide bombing attack on Saturday that killed 4 U.S. soldiers still fresh in their minds. The war that much more complicated as Iraqi soldiers take off their uniforms and melt into neighborhoods throughout southern Iraq, which is why coalition forces armed with information from informants are going door to door.
Everybody pretty much looks the same. You just don't know. During the daylight, they're friendly with you. At night, they're taking sniper shots at us.
In raid after raid, they are finding buildings packed with boxes of munitions and destroying them. From the air, bombs are dropping day and night. A senior CENTCOM official says they're concentrating most heavily on a triangle, from Saddam Hussein's stronghold of Tikrit to the west, Ramadi, where U.S. Special Forces are at work, and finally to the heart of Baghdad, where they anticipate the biggest battle. But with relentless coalition attacks, it's unclear just how much damage has been inflicted on Iraqi command and its ability to send out orders to the Iraqi troops on the ground who are fighting back. Adaora Udoji live in Doha, and now back to you.
More news in just a moment, but first, here's Andy with a look at the weather.
Alrighty, Sharman, on this first day of April, a bit of a winter in our forecast. Some light, wet snow coming in later on. Right now, we're partly cloudy and cold, 23 in Albany. Teens up to the north, lower 20s off to the east. And for that day ahead, mostly cloudy for the drive-in. 8 o'clock temperature near 25, 32 by noon with overcast skies. Then after that, a light, wet snow developing. Could be mixed with a bit of rain to our south. Late day temperatures near 34. Sharman.
Andy, thanks. 2 pilots are rescued after their plane veers off the deck of an aircraft carrier in the Persian Gulf. It happened aboard the USS Constellation. The plane slipped into the Gulf during landing. The 2 pilots ejected, and they were rescued by helicopter. Both of them suffered minor injuries. The president hit the road to praise the progress of the war with Iraq. He visited the Port of Philadelphia yesterday. The president gave an upbeat assessment of the first 11 days of ground combat. He said the war is more than just a fight against Saddam, but also terror, and drew similarities between the two.
The dying regime in Iraq may try to bring terror to our shores. Other parts of the global terror network may view this as a moment to strike, thinking that we're distracted. They're wrong.
Today, Secretary of State Colin Powell travels to Turkey. He's going to try to repair relations and try to prevent Turkish troops from invading Kurdish-controlled territory in northern Iraq. Expect a busy day in downtown Albany. Tens of thousands of healthcare workers are staging a rally. They're trying to stop some big-time cuts in state money. News 10's Scott Patterson is live from the newsroom with that story.
Sharman, we won't know specific numbers until the rally actually happens this afternoon, but organizers are saying there could be 20 to 30,000 people involved. Governor Pataki is calling for nearly $2 billion in healthcare cuts in his budget proposal. Healthcare unions say such cuts would be devastating and that up to 22,000 workers could lose their jobs. Union leaders and the hospital industry have joined forces for this ad campaign. They say there are a number of alternatives.
Rather than cutting Medicaid, what they should be doing here in the legislature and the governor should be closing the corporate loopholes, and in addition to imposing a very small surcharge among the wealthiest among us.
And with concerns about nuclear, biological, or chemical attacks, hospitals are at the front line of defense right now. The healthcare industry says cutting funding to hospitals would impair their ability to respond to an attack. Now, today's rally starts at the Pepsi Arena this morning, then heads over to the Empire State Plaza and the state capitol. Sharman.
All right, Scott, thanks. It is time to check in with Jay Allen for a look at your morning commute. Jay.
Good morning, Sharman. Seen some real icy spots out there, especially wraps, bridges, and secondaries with last night's snow. You need to take it real easy, northway south. Good ride from Clifton Park on down past the bridges. Just take it slower than usual. Northway northbound side, we've got an accident off to the right on the ramp to exit 5. We have police on scene with that. 787 southbound, no problems here at the I-90 ramp. Seen an easy ride through downtown Albany. The thruway eastbound side also usual quiet ride so far through the exit 24 tolls. With the News 10 traffic scan, I'm Jay Allen.
Jay, thanks. Next up here on News 10 in the morning, Andy updates your day-ahead forecast. Plus, we will give you a glimpse of the gear American soldiers are wearing on the front line as they wage war.